Okay, hi everybody, my name is Jimmy Chian.
And my name is Yvonne Liao.
And we're your hosts for tonight. Welcome to Mad Props. Tonight's a night where citizens tackle the California ballot live on stage, one proposition at a time. Luckily, there's only 11 propositions this year, unlike 2016. Thank you, Direct Democracy.
Okay, so I just went to this thing called Mad Props. Where's the camera? There it is. Hello, future self. I went to this event called Mad Props, which was all about all of the California propositions. Do I have to go that way? No, the car is not that way. It was really interesting. They had like different, where is the goddamn camera? They had a bunch of different people who were talking about every different proposition. They gave out a booklet and everything. It was really interesting, like a fun, engaging way to think / do voting education. I had never been to it before. Apparently they've done it before. So yeah, I'll note you all the things that you're supposed to vote for so that you don't forget them and then vote them wrong. Okay, future self, these are the votes. These are only the California propositions. I'll probably do another research and another video on the San Francisco propositions. Don't forget to watch both of the videos. Find them. I got this fancy little voter guide at the event, and you can go to bythebay.cool or ballot.fyi to get more information if this video is not enough information for you. Here is what we decided yesterday at Mad Props 2018. Prop 1. Oh, I gotta get to it in the books. Oh no, I'm dropping everything. Everything is going everywhere. That's 3. This is 1. Proposition 1, $14 billion bonds for housing. I am voting yes. Proposition 2, which is how the millionaire's tax is spent. This is basically just like making a previous proposition more clear. And I'm also voting yes. Proposition 3, the bond for water issues. Now, when I was reading about it, which is this little dot, I decided to vote yes. And then when the performer went up and talked about it, I thought that maybe I should vote no. And from his point of view, this is about sort of the personal ethics, which would tell you to vote no, versus like just trying to help some people who really need clean water, which would tell you to vote yes. The personal ethics being that this proposition is heavily funded and backed by sort of agribusiness and other sort of pay-to-play things. So I think that I am going to vote yes. This is not perfect. I would really prefer if it went a different way, but California needs to do some shit about some water. So I guess I'm voting yes. It's not perfect, but okay. So the next one, Proposition 4, is about children's hospitals funding. There's some opposition about whether or not that money should also go to private hospitals, which it will, and I am voting yes. Proposition 5. This is about being able to move your property taxes from your old house to your new house if you buy a new house. And I am voting no on this. And the reason is because it sounds great at first, like, oh, let seniors like keep their old property taxes. But actually, this would let people buy more expensive houses while continuing to keep their old property tax rates if they're over 55. And I think that if you can afford to buy a more expensive house than the house you were living in before, instead of an equally valued house, which is what it currently is, then you probably shouldn't get to keep your old property taxes. Proposition 6. This one is trying to repeal the gas tax, which pays for a lot of infrastructure in California, and I am voting no, because that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. Proposition 7, this one is interesting. Do we want to change daylight savings time so that in the winter the sun would come up at 8:30 under our socially constructed theory of time and go down around 6, whereas now the sun gets up at 7:30 and goes down around 5. Now, I think I'm going to vote no, and the reason is because in the winter, I think that it's more reasonable for people who have to get up really early and commute to work. Like, I don't want people having to do all that in the dark, and there is evidence to show that if people, like pedestrians, are more at risk of getting hit by cars in the dark and at dusk and dawn than they are during sort of like daylight hours. So this is nothing to do with like, there's like this relationship between San Francisco and New York that people are trying to conserve and stuff. I think that this is the only thing I'm using to vote on this, and I am voting no, is that I just don't want people to get hit by cars more, and commuters might get hit by cars more if we change it. So I'm voting no. Date. So I just did Vim Live with Vi, and we were talking about some of the propositions, and Vi had a really good point, which is that if we vote yes on daylight savings, then there would be more light for people who get off work at 5 in the evenings, and people would just get exposed to more sunlight in the winter. And that's apology. Ooh, sorry. And I think like actually maybe more sunlight exposure would be less depressing in general in the winter. So I changed my mind. Voting yes on daylight savings. Oh, so this is a dialysis clinics profits proposition, and the nurse who talked about this at the event even said, like, this shouldn't be on the ballot. This is ridiculous. But because it is on the ballot, she recommended that we vote yes because it will help people get better in-home care. So I guess that's what I'm voting for, because that's what the nurse told me to do. I'm not well educated enough on this topic to have, like, my own well-reasoned opinion. I'm literally just following the advice of a healthcare professional. Okay, Prop 10 legalizes rent control, and Prop 10 I am voting yes. Basically what this does is says that local communities get to control their rent control, and you know, the state can't just like decide for everyone what it should be, and it repeals this thing called Costa-Hawkins, which was how we regulated housing in 1995, and will instead like sort of update rent control for new things. So I don't live in rent control, but a lot of people do, and the performer who's talking about it lives in rent control, and I want to protect those people's housing rights. Okay, Proposition 11. This one is very, very, very counterintuitive. So Proposition 11 requires EMTs to be on call during breaks. But what that actually means is that their breaks are not protected. And there's all these things that saying like, oh, well, wouldn't it make them respond faster or stuff like that? But all the unions are coming out against this because actually the company AMR, which is like the American Medical Response, they have a pending lawsuit, which is what the performer talked about a lot, and this prop would get them out of paying like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in back pay to their employees, and I think that that's stupid, and they're the only funder of this bill. They're just trying to get out of a lawsuit, so fuck them. I am voting no. Last but not least, Proposition 12. This is the one that sets floor space requirements for farm animals. There was another prop basically the same as this one, Prop 2, a few years ago, but it didn't have like very like particular measurements for each animal, and so it got very vague. So basically what this proposition doing is just making Prop 2 less vague and making there be like very specific specifications for each kind of animal, and I agree with this. I don't like, horrible factory farm food. So this is what I am voting yes. So yeah, I will, wait, hold on. I really enjoyed the event. I definitely recommend that you go again to Mad Props. So yeah, I will make another video for like the California races after I have done more research on that and the San Francisco propositions and everything, so that you are the most educated and informed you can be when you vote for all your votes. Okay, goodbye.